my name is Mohan Embar and I'm the co-founder of PolyTripper.com. Welcome to part 4 of how to learn any language. And if you haven't signed up for this course through our website, you'll want to do so at https://polytripper.com/secret.html because it has PDF worksheets that you can use to follow along with the audio and video of this class. And especially for part 2, there was a lot of grammar information that's really nicely and concisely summarized on those PDF worksheets. So I highly encourage you to sign up for the class through that link and download the PDF worksheets and follow along as I go along. This video, like the third video, is also going to be relatively short and sweet. It covers the fourth secret, which in part 1 of this course I said was there are resourceful ways to acquire a good level of the language in your own country. And that is very true. And the funny thing about this is that I wrote this original PDF for you. I don't even know it was a PDF back then. I wrote this original document back in 1994 when I was living in France. And at the time, I gave a lot of tips and tricks that I used at the time because I've been learning languages for a long time. And none of them had anything to do with the internet because the internet wasn't really a thing in 1994 in France. And so if you look at some of the things I wrote down, I said start with a class or a learn at home course. And back in my day, what I would do is I would get a course which had books and cassette tapes, and I would listen to the cassette tapes and I would follow along with the book and I would learn my language in a vacuum. And that was really the best I could do at the time. With things like Swedish, for example, when I was learning Swedish when I was living in France, I didn't know any Swedish people. Actually, that's not true. There was one Swedish woman at my work, but I didn't dare talk Swedish to her because I didn't feel confident about my level. And so I was just using the books and the cassette tapes and muddling along like that. My second piece of advice from 1994 was buy a shortwave radio, because with a shortwave radio you had a chance of picking up on stations in other countries and listening to the audio. And for me, like, listening to the audio was a very important part of learning a language. When I learn a language, a lot of times I like to just listen to a native podcast, or not a podcast, like at the time it would be like a TV show or a radio transmission, and I wouldn't have to even understand what they were saying. For example, before I went to do my third year university studies in the French speaking part of Switzerland, I befriended a bunch of Swiss students who would come in the opposite direction, and I just hung out with them. People who go and study at a language school, or people who tend to study abroad, they tend to come together, find each other, speak their own language, and kind of not take advantage of the opportunities that they have in front of them to learn other languages or actually immerse themselves in the culture. And so I kind of took advantage of that by befriending them. And actually it turned out to be a pretty nice friendship, because not only could I listen to them speak French, but also I invited them to my house in Chicago afterwards. And when I went to Switzerland, they invited me to their houses. And so that worked out pretty well. I didn't go there just not knowing anyone. But that was my rambling way of saying that at the time, buying a shortwave radio, and the third piece of advice was check out the foreign language section in your video rental store. So obviously none of this stuff applies now, or very, very little of this stuff applies now. You've got Netflix, you've got amazing Chrome extensions for Netflix where you actually can play 2 sets of subtitles at the same time. You've got YouTube, and you've got many things. And I would say the most important thing, basically the most life-changing thing for me in that journey has been online language instruction. When I went to Italy in November of 2017, I was already speaking at a very good level, and that week of language course that I took in Genoa only served to solidify my already very, very good mastery of the language, which I had gotten from basically 1 hour here and there over a period of 2 years with an online language teacher through Skype lessons. And it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. And the fact that me having the perspective of knowing what learning languages was like in the late 80s and early 90s, it's just you people are so lucky. We are lucky. I'm lucky too, because I'm continuing to learn now. But man, it is so much easier to learn a language in this day and age than it was 20, 30 years ago. And we should all be, I mean, I know that things are going to evolve and be even more amazing in the future. But for now, the fact that I was able to go to Italy, because when I when I set out to learn Italian, when I set out to have that language experience, I had known for years I wanted to do that, but I wanted to replicate the experience that I had in Switzerland, which was going and taking a foreign language class in an Italian language school with a bunch of other foreigners, like I did with French initially in the late 80s. And I figured that that was the best way to get the mastery of the language that I would need. But no, I ended up going a completely different route because I had the online language instruction. And then after that, I was able to, with my own self-study and the combination of my self-study and the language instruction, go there and really hit the ground running. And I was already, like I said, I already had a good mastery of the language, having never been to the country, having never been to the country while I was learning the language. So anyway, you are living in an amazing time, and this is where I'm going to pitch PolyTripper, because we are a website for connecting language learners and language teachers. And we have curated a number of very talented language teachers who are very patient and very good at what they do. And and if you've never considered the notion of taking an online language course because either you don't have the level, or it's too scary, or you're worried that you're going to make a fool out of yourself, or you're worried that they won't understand you or you won't understand them, I'm here to tell you that you could put all those fears to rest. These are teachers who have experience teaching other students, in some cases have a lot of experience teaching other students, and they know exactly how to deal with new students. They know exactly how to put people at ease. They know exactly how to make a lesson plan with you. They know exactly how to assess your needs and come up with a plan of action for you, which is suited to what you want to do. And most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, we're all busy. I'm busy. I told you about my Russian story where I haven't had a chance to even learn Russian yet. I'm busy working on this company. I'm busy, doing a lot of other things. And so a lot of times, for example, with German, my German was really, really rusty when I started taking online language lessons again. And I haven't really studied it that formally other than my hour-long lessons every week. So basically, it's just been the lessons. That's not completely true. I mean, I've read some grammar books and stuff like that, but it's mostly been true that I've just basically taken the online German lessons like every week. Not even that. Sometimes I've gone months without taking a lesson for an hour here and there. And solely through that means of interaction, I've been able to not only improve my German, but maintain it to the point where I run into a random German person and have a conversation with them. They're like, wow, what's your secret? How did you do that? In fact, I've talked to a German friend of mine that I had met in Switzerland over 30 years ago. Just recently, we had a Skype conversation. And it's funny because all the foreigners I know, all the people that I met, my friends who live internationally, who I met maybe 30 years ago, they all assume that I've forgotten all of my German or all of my French or all of my whatever, because all Americans do that. All Americans will do their junior year abroad, their third year abroad, and then they'll speak a little bit of the language and they'll forget about it. So they assume that. And so I remember I was talking to him in English. I didn't want to insist that we talk in German, and his English is much better than my German. So we were talking in English, and then his son came, and I just started speaking to his son in German, and he was like, "Whoa! Like, I can't believe that you actually how did you keep it up?" And it's solely through the online language lessons that I've been able to keep it up, because I haven't lived in Germany. The last time I was in Germany was in 2014. So it's solely through the constant interaction of the online language lessons that this has worked for me. And not only have I made a number of friends online, it's led to such rich experiences for me. Especially, I can say with Italians, I love Italians in Italy. Everyone knows that. Everyone who knows me knows that. And just getting a personal guided tour of Venice from my Italian teacher, or hanging out with one of my teachers in Verona or Milan. Italians are so nice. First of all, I'm not saying that you're going to have the same experience that I did, but not only are they so nice, I could have never gotten these friendships. I could have never gotten this experience had I not taken those online language lessons. And if you've ever done, I mean, I'm living in California and I'm not a stranger to therapy, and I'm not suggesting that you use your language teacher as a substitute therapist, but sometimes just like the way that friends can help you through your problems or help you through, difficult moments, man, I swear that the $10 an hour I pay for some of these people has been as or more beneficial for me than the $100 I've spent on therapy with certain therapists. So there's that. Don't use these teachers as a therapist, please. I don't know why I even said that, but anyway, just to show that basically these online lessons can evolve into something that's much more deeper than just a student teacher relationship. Of course, that depends on the student, that depends on the teacher, but that's enough of my rambling. I think you get what I'm trying to say. So what else? One of the things that I see in my 1994 document was there's study abroad. Of course, if you can study abroad or if you can work abroad, I've been fortunate enough to be able to live and work in some of the countries that I've lived and work in, France and the Netherlands, for example. If you can study abroad and live abroad, if you can actually live in the country, there's absolutely no substitute for that. My Dutch and my French are better than, like, despite my years and years and years of Spanish and Italian, which are very good. I don't think they'll ever be at the level that my Dutch and French are for having lived in the country. That said, it's shocking how good a level you can achieve by not living in the country with the online language instruction. And finally, the last piece of advice that I have is do a language exchange. Language exchanges are nice. I do a language exchange with a Swedish person, for example. Every week we do a half an hour of Swedish and a half an hour of English, and we do that during my lunch hour at work. So I just take my computer and then I Skype with him. And now with the pandemic, I'm at home working from home, and so I do the same thing. But just like that, I typically the half an hour of Swedish per week I do with him is practically speaking the only forward progress I'm making on Swedish right now, just because I'm not prioritizing that based on my other languages. And so it's just being kept alive by him. And not only that, he's kind of like my accountability partner in the sense that we both are motivated to meet with each other, because if we don't, then we don't get the practice. And so this is like another human being in my life that's actually motivating me to continue my Swedish. And so that's the the motivation you get from another human being really can't be replaced by self-study methods. I can't stress this enough. And at PolyTripper, we have a number of wonderful teachers that can help you with that. And so I'll leave you at that. Like I said again, if you haven't signed up for this course through the website, do so at the address below, https://polytripper.com/secret.html. And in closing, what I want to say to you, in addition to thanking you for joining this course, is please, please, please reach out to us. Like I said in the beginning, this is not a video that I'm broadcasting to a billion people or 10 million people. It's actually very few people because we're just starting out. And so I have the bandwidth and resources to respond to you individually, and I will do that, okay? Because in addition to me wanting to earn a livelihood with this business, I love languages. I love languages. I love communicating that passion to other people. And I've made all the mistakes, and I continue making mistakes, but I've made all the mistakes in the book. And so I know the ropes of learning a language, okay? Especially the languages that I know, but also, like, in general, if you told me that I needed to learn Thai or needed to learn Russian, or if I needed to learn Mandarin, which is one of my goals, I think it's the last language I want to learn, I would, with enough time, be able to do that. I have full confidence in my ability to do that. And that's like a nice piece of clarity to have, the confidence that with a given amount of time that you can actually accomplish something. And I think that achieving a certain level of proficiency in any language is within anyone's grasp, and it's up to you to find basically what that sweet spot is for you, as far as like what you want to achieve, what you're able to achieve due to your personal abilities and the time that you have, and just going for it, putting in the time, not losing interest. The most important thing, not losing interest. And we would love to be the people to help you with not losing interest by giving you online language teachers that you can actually communicate with and and gain positive interactions from. And also, like I said, write me personally, and I'll be glad to help you in any way I can. And again, thank you. Good luck with your language learning. Don't give up, don't lose interest, reach out. And I really, really wish upon you the richness and wonderfulness of this experience and the experiences that I've had. They've changed my life forever. And I really wish for anyone who hasn't experienced that, that they will experience that in this lifetime. It's one of the most powerful things you can experience in this lifetime. Thank you again, and good luck.